Petraeus was set to be the key witness coming up in the Benghazi testimony this week, but wouldn't you know it, the FBI, and I can't believe they said this with a straight face, accidentally stumbled on some private emails and discovered that General Petraeus was having an affair. Oh my goodness, and they didn't see, whoops, oh my, what are the odds? What are the odds? So instead of testifying this week about what happened in Benghazi, he has resigned in disgrace. He was the CIA director. Gosh, who would have seen that one coming, huh? Well, you would have if you watched this network. Look.
I got to get on a plane, but I just wanted to leave a theory here so it's on record.
All right.
Watch for Petraeus to take the blame. As I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking, where's Petraeus? Petraeus is the guy who's been set up as he's the intelligence guy now. He's the head of the CIA. Mm-hmm. Everybody trusts Petraeus. Remember when they moved him over there and we were like, why is he doing that? They're getting him out of the way. Put this all together. Who have they tried to sell down the river every step of the way? The intelligence. Sloppy intelligence. Didn't know, everything. You watch. Petraeus is going to be the fall guy. They're going to have him step down. They're going to point all fingers to him. You watch.
Do you think he takes that, or do you think...
he goes to Princeton. I think he goes to Princeton. I think he takes it, and he goes to Princeton. And he thinks, I'll shape young minds. I'll do that.
He takes it for this administration, or he takes it for
the
military that doesn't seem to
I'm telling you,
want
I
it?
think they've set this guy up and given him the golden parachute already of go to Princeton, run Princeton, and they've got him out of the way. I
think he's too honorable a guy to take it, but
it might
be the reverse.
So, but
yeah.
You watch, they're going to set him up. He's going to be the fall guy.
Too honorable of a guy. Well, as it turns out, no, not so much. I readily admit that I stink on ice predicting presidential election and politics. But when we're talking about radical revolutionaries who are plotting to overthrow America and end capitalism as we know it, oh, I'm pretty good. I got those guys nailed. This story just doesn't make any sense unless you look at it through the eyes of revolutionaries. I've told you from the beginning, what's happening in Libya is they are running guns and aid to our enemy. And that's what this whole thing was all about. And that's why they will not investigate, and that's why they're hiding everything. Now, I made this prediction 2 weeks ago because I was bothered by how the Obama administration just kept citing bad intelligence in the wake of Benghazi. And I kept thinking to myself, why would you do that? How could you possibly expect the spooks of the world to just continue to take it? Over and over and over again for the last couple of years. Everything has been bad intelligence. Who's going to take that very long? And then I realized, wait a minute. Who's in charge of the CIA? See, I was asking, why would they throw their own people under the bus like that? Simple. Who is the head of intelligence? He's not their guy. Do you remember this? General Petraeus or General Betrayus, cooking the books for the White House. This was from MoveOn.org. They're the ones who did this. They hate this guy. They didn't put him in charge of Afghanistan and later the CIA because they like him. They hate him. But keep your enemies close, especially if you have something on them, because they provide you with a fall guy. And if you don't need the fall guy, it's still good to have somebody that you can manipulate. Petraeus has been a very good general, but as we now know, he is not necessarily an honorable man. And he has exhibited wildly dangerous behavior. He put himself in a position to be blackmailed. But wait a minute, he didn't put himself in the position of CIA director. The president did. Well, did the president know? Well, let's look at this. He's in a position now of being blackmailed as a CIA director, but before he was a CIA director, he was writing love notes through email. Wow. Not the guy we thought he was, and probably not so bright either. At the time that he left Afghanistan, he was already in the midst of this affair. But when he went to Afghanistan. At the very beginning of this administration, there was talk about Petraeus becoming a future presidential candidate for the Republicans. And being universally respected as the figure that he is, that posed a threat to the Democrats. And I remember being on Fox and I said, well, look what they're doing. Don't go. They're using this. They have this on their side. It's a side benefit. Take you off the table, General, so you're not a worthy political opponent. So you isolate and you put yourself over in Afghanistan. We need you here. But here's what the disgracing of Petraeus accomplishes. Not only have they used him, manipulated him, got what they wanted, but now they not only destroy him, but also it causes more distrust on one of the only institutions we have left. See, if you want to understand these guys, you have to understand revolution and study revolution. And I have. I've talked to people who, that's all they do is study revolution. And when I first started looking into this, I started to make a list on all the things that you would need to be able to fundamentally transform or to overthrow the United States government. And the only one, and we talked about it, I told you, the only hurdle left for the progressives was the military. They weakened every institution. The only one left standing was the military. Well, now this kind of shakes up that upstanding American view of the military, doesn't it? Along with the Navy SEALs and everything else that's going on. Here's our top guy, a 4-star general. And he's cheating on his wife of nearly 38 years. I don't know what was happening in their marriage, but that doesn't seem good. Did they set him up? I don't think they were sending hookers to him or setting this woman to him. But the first indication that something wasn't right here was the mere fact that he was being considered for the CIA's top spot. Why would you send Petraeus to the CIA and then move your CIA director to run the Department of Defense? Why not leave your CIA director at the CIA, Leon Panetta, leave him there, and put Petraeus in at the Defense Department? That's his expertise. Also, reports are now coming out that the administration knew that Petraeus was having an affair while they were vetting him for the CIA's top spot. The official line from the administration is they had no idea about it. No, nobody told us. Really? Really? Just like you had no clue that Van Jones was a communist, revolutionary, 9/11 truther, you had no idea that was in his past. You had no idea how people crashed the State Department or the state dinners at the White House and got into close proximity of the president. You had no idea that Reverend Wright said all of these hateful, anti-American things. No idea. You had no clue that the Egyptian the politicians that you granted a visa to was a member of a U.S. designated terror group, and you let him into the White House. You had no idea? Really? This is your level of vetting? Well, if that's true, gosh, Obama, boy, you're lucky, because all that Osama bin Laden had to do to be alive today is just apply for a cabinet position at the White House. Says here you're a community organizer in Islamabad. Sounds great. These aren't vetting accidents. This administration is radically left-wing, and they're lying to you about an awful lot of stuff. But let's say it is a vetting problem. Okay, good. Let's just take the administration that they didn't know. Then their firing should have begun last week. There should be a long line of people who were fired. Common sense dictates the answer. Petraeus was allegedly using an open email address. I don't know what it was. General Petraeus at hotmail.com, M-A-L-E, or whatever it was. But you don't use an open email address to send explicit sex under the desk emails to your mistress. Let me tell you, the reason why I know this is I have talked to all the intel guys. I've talked to Rumsfeld, I talked to Chertoff, I talked to Ashcroft, all when they were in office. All of them looked at me like I was a crazy man when I talked to them about email. He said, no, nobody in our positions use email because they can be easily hacked. You don't use that. Easily hacked? Yeah, sure, with 1980s technology called Echelon. Interception and collection of content from phones and faxes and emails and other data traffic. Really, our director of the CIA and our top general over there wouldn't know about that? Oh, by the way, they're also building giant storage facilities. This is in Utah. That's all this is a storage facility of data that's been collected. Rest assured, when 4-star stallion at yahoo.com is sending sex under the desk emails, I'm pretty sure the government knows about it. And surely it wouldn't take all that much to investigate, in the vetting process, to notice that he has, at least on the surface, has some pretty big red flags. Really? Let's try this one. Who did Petraeus select to write his big autobiography? Well, one that, after this guy writes it, it's going to get tons of media attention, given his stature and his history. Who's going to write that? He picks a 40-year-old hottie who's never written a book before in a day in her life. Her name is Paula Broadwell. She first met Petraeus 6 years ago when he spoke at Harvard while she was a graduate student there. In 2008, she decides to pursue a doctorate in public policy and conduct a case on his innovative leadership skills. Yeah. During that time, she had regular contact with him via email. And they really have to stop saying this, they worked out together and did push-ups.